have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network? What are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Logwork, the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine Write in the Rain paper. The logbook's designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who'd rather go caching than doing cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's logwerk.com.
Hello, and welcome to Challenge Talk, part of the Geocache Talk Network. You can watch the show live on the second Tuesday of each month. Feel free to jump over to YouTube, Facebook, or X to watch the broadcast live and join the wonderful and active chat room, or listen to the entire show later on your favorite podcast player or YouTube.
I think we've got a really cool show for you tonight. We've got several surprises and some announcements, plus an interview with the person responsible for one of the most widely sought challenges, jasmerb.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We also have prizes to give away each show to our listeners. Between each show, be sure to email your challenge cache finds to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com and you could be a winner.
Later on in the show, we'll play our special game exclusively for the live audience, the Wheel of Challenges. So listen live, get your email app ready, and follow the instructions when the time comes so you can have a chance at winning tonight's grand prize.
And at the end of the show, we'll highlight some of the challenge caches you found and someone will win our coveted monthly giveaway. So let's start out by welcoming our guest, Bryce, otherwise known as jasmerb. Welcome, Bryce. Glad to have you with us tonight.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are your hosts, Emily and Tim. And Tim, how's your month been?
Oh, it's been very exciting. So it's old news now, but at the end of January, Geo Woodstock 2025 is the second American Giga event ever,
That's
the
right.
third in North America, and we achieved the goal as ambassadors. That was our whole goal, was to see if we could make this event
Good job,
worthy
ambassadors.
of everybody's attendance.
Yeah,
That's
great.
the good news. Now, the bad news is that if you're planning to camp and you're planning to go to the KOA, Mother Nature has not been so nice, and it does not look like camping at the new KOA campground will be available. So scramble on finding your hotel rooms because it's going to be a fantastic event. So working on that, working on Cache Fest, that little mega event in Hawaii that we've got going this year. Now, if you listen to some of the other podcasts, a couple of weeks ago on Caching in the Northwest, I was a guest and we were talking about events for 2025 and I spilled some beans prematurely. So one of the things in tonight's news item, we'll talk a little bit more about it later, is there's been a release date for the new Treasures promotion. However, according to our friends at Project GC, because of the initial rollout, what's going to go on, what they expect to have in place, Project GC is not going to have checkers available on day one. Therefore, we can't include treasures in our Cache Fest challenge trail.
That's right. But we'll shift. We'll figure
You're still going to come up with
you.
something great. You got to listen to the May show.
That's right.
Finally, is Camp MyGo. This is the third mega event that I get to work on this year. Camp MyGo is all ready to go. It's going to be in August. It's going to be great. We are starting to publish side events. 2 of them published this week. Swag for the event is going to go on sale next Friday. And our camp counselor package, which is a way to help us get some promotion, the announcements out, the camp counselor package will end at the end of February. So if you want to help us out, go to the website, mi-geocaching.org, and help us out with Camp MyGo.
All right. Awesome.
Other than that, not much.
Nope, not much. Just megas, and gigas, right?
So how's your month been, Emily?
You know what? After last month's show, I had the opportunity to book an impromptu trip to Utah to see my parents. And so we took the chance to drive to Cache Odyssey, Utah. Wow. So I got to find my first Cache Odyssey cache, and I got to hang out with the cache owner, Jokeress, afterwards, talk about her awesome cache, which included some 3D printed elements. She's got her own 3D printer. I want one. It was so cool to see that element incorporated into her super awesome cache and to just hang out. We could have talked for hours. She was such a lovely host, and meeting her animals too. So that was the highlight of my month.
Oh, that's cool. I have yet to find a Cache Odyssey one.
Yeah.
My stamp has already been stolen, and I've had to maintenance it 3 times already. So
I'm so sorry.
somebody tried to not, it requires 2 bits. Everybody knows what a bit is, right? 2 bits a quarter. And somebody tried to put a slug in, and it jammed everything up. So,
shoot. The maintenance you never expect is the maintenance you will have. Yeah.
There you go. That is true.
Yeah. Be ready for it.
Yeah. So in the news for tonight, at least one of the elements of news is treasures. So the launch date is March the 17th.
Yes. Brian didn't know when he was on last month, but yeah, March 17th. Yeah.
It's been announced 2 collections are going to be released to start. It just came out in today's logbook. So this is fresh off the press. You will have the 2 collections will release. You have to collect collection 1, which is, I think they said 4 treasures, and they need to be in traditional caches. And then you can move on to collection number 2, which is going to be 5, and it'll be a series of easier ones. They have to be less than a 1.5 DT. So a Cache Odyssey cache is pretty good for those in most cases, at least for the T rating. So that March 17th date, I'm like, why is that date so important? And then I realized it's St. Patty's Day.
I like where you're going with this.
Will you have the luck of the Irish for your treasure?
The Jeremy Irish. I like where you're going with that. Very good.
The big news for the day.
Very good. Bryce, a very different angle on geocaching, these digital elements of the game now. So different from way back in the day when we're talking about the introduction of your creation.
Yeah, about half the things you're saying are going over my head. I'm like,
all right. Cool, no problem. All right, Tim, do you have any stat updates for us before we get to our interview?
Oh, sure, I can do that. So yes, I did update the stats for the month. There are now, and Bryce, you'll like this, there are 44,919 unique challenges. Well, maybe not unique challenges, but unique challenge caches around the world. And that's an increase of 316 over last month.
Awesome.
And in the United States alone, there are 17,816 challenge caches to find. I do get to report that Florida rejoined the 4-digit club with Texas, California, Michigan. Florida just went over the 1,001 challenges. So they're back in the 4-digit club.
Very cool.
Okay, so here's a dumb question for me. How do you find a challenge cache? Like, what's unique about it? Because back in my day, it was just a puzzle cache.
Right. So every challenge cache is required to have the word challenge in the title, which doesn't make it so unique. Anyone can use the word, but also it's
Right.
required to have a very specific challenge cache attribute. So you can search by that attribute alone,
Okay.
and you will find all challenge caches. Everything else will be filtered out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they
All
did
right.
they did a moratorium on publishing new challenges in 2017. And if the cache was published before then, it can have the word challenge in the title without it being a true challenge cache. After they came back from the moratorium, you cannot use the word challenge in a title unless it is a challenge cache. So yes, you can search by the attribute. You can actually search by that term and the name, and so you can find them wherever your heart desires.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm very excited to start talking to Bryce tonight. Bryce, I have to start by saying that there's a word that runs through my head or comes out of my mouth every single day because it is my obsession. And that word is your name. I wouldn't know your name without the challenge that you created, but because of it, I am obsessed. I plan my trips around achieving Jasmer challenges. Your name is constantly in my head. Welcome to Challenge Talk.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So your geocaching name is jasmerb. Your name is Bryce Jasmer. Very, very simple there. But the reason we know your name is you created the very first Jasmer challenge, the Jasmer Challenge Northern California edition, which is obviously in California. I presume where you lived at the time.
That's correct.
All right. So
it's
tell
a rather
us.
Unremarkable cache as well. It's like,
oh no,
I didn't think about it at the time.
That's
it's
all right.
in a bad, busy footpath, and it was close to work, and I didn't think it would blow up to be what it is today.
Sure, but it's precious and not going anywhere, I presume. So tell us what went through your head, what made you think of this idea, and basically what it is. What did you create?
So in that day, which I think was 2007 or 2008, the Fizzy Challenge was the big, everybody knows it, everybody wants to achieve it, and very few can get around to doing it. And I kind of wanted to, I was trying to think, what could I do that would, be an, impressive, challenging challenge to do. And I noticed that one of the attributes of a cache was the date that it was placed. And so it kind of started burbling in my head that maybe if I make one that's, every single month a placed cache was found by you, going back to the start, that would be a challenge that I could publish, and it would, magically get harder and harder every month. And so I kind of had that just going around in the back of my head for the longest time. And I didn't really do anything about it. I knew I wanted to, but the area that I was living was kind of crowded with caches, so I didn't know where to put one. And then I think a spot opened up, like I said, near where I worked, along this bike path. And so I jumped at the chance and put a cache out there and published it. And I was concerned that somebody would beat me to the idea. I don't know why, but it was always in the back of my mind that somebody could come up with this first. And I was like, I got to hurry and get it done. I finally did. And it took, I think the first person to find it got it within a few weeks.
Okay.
But then it was quite a while before the second person found it.
Did that first person qualify? It was like a...
They did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't remember if I made it so that you could write a note or not. I think I might have. Whatever the Fizzy Cache did, I kind of copied their ideas on how they did it. So yeah, I think anybody could write a note, but yeah, you had to complete it to sign the log officially.
And back when you created it, like Tim said, it was pre the current guidelines. So were you concerned about the difficulty in someone being able to achieve it? Or you just thought, this is a good idea, I got to get this done?
I thought if 5 people accomplished it, that would be, impressive to me. And that's, that was my kind of goal, is just get a handful of people, and they would be the, the end all be all. And I thought that would be it. I had no idea that it would explode like it did.
Right. And also, even on that note, I think it's some people have a little chuckle about this. You didn't qualify for it, which in this day and age, again, is like just not even possible to hide something that you don't qualify for yourself.
That was pointed out to me, I think, a few months ago, or on my last interview, I think, that was brought up. I was like, I had no idea. I didn't know if I would ever be able to complete it. I certainly knew that it wasn't in the cards for anytime soon. And then I kind of took a sabbatical from caching for, I don't know, maybe a decade. So it just kind of got farther and farther away.
Sure. Yeah, a decade. That's like 120 months that went by to fill that grid, and not to mention the months that you needed before that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a really unique feature of your hide, and also you named it after yourself. Like, was that just a no thought or?
Well, funny thing is, it's the second Jasmer challenge to exist.
Okay.
The first Jasmer challenge, my child, when she was in first grade or maybe kindergarten, she was amazing at like monkey bars and doing all sorts of things on the, in the playground. And so there was this apparatus that was kind of difficult to use, especially at her age. And so I said, hey, I'm going to make a challenge for you to see if you can like do these various steps and get back to the start. And I'll call that the Jasmer challenge. And so she eventually worked and she got it. And then when it came to geocaching, I was like, I've got to use that name again.
That's lovely. Oh, that's such a nice little memory and tribute. Yeah. Very good.
So it took me a long time to scroll through the cache page, but I'm showing that the cache was published on December the 19th of 2008. And it was found by B. Thomas.
Ben or Chris? Who?
B. Thomas and 1231. Oh. So yeah, it took 12 days.
And I thought it was somebody else. Maybe they were in the second or third geocacher.
Yeah, the Fat Cats wrote a note. Bright Eye wrote a note in January. They were out January 1st of 2009. And then it just takes off from there.
In that area.
Okay.
So
cool.
550 finds to date.
Very cool.
550.
Oh, no, 550 logged visits.
Okay.
326 smileys. There we go. So more than the 4 or 5 that you thought we're gonna go after this.
Just a tad. I remember I used to be very vigilant, and every time somebody would write a found it, I would like go and check their history and kind of scold them if they hadn't completed it. But now it seems like just everybody's got 1,000+ fines easily, 10,000+ fines. So I'm like, I'm not going to bother you. I'm sure you do qualify. I believe.
Yeah, there you go. It's kind of a job, right? Yeah, and so it was challenging in its own way back in 2008 and its own way in 2025. So 2008, there was a lot fewer months to fill in. What else did you think was hard about it?
Well, clearly the old caches were always the hardest thing. I think at the time, maybe a July or a September was the earliest I had found.
Okay.
Of 2000. And I don't even remember how I found out back then, because it was, the tools and the search features were a little bit more archaic to find. I want to find a May 2000 cache. That was a little bit difficult, especially since there were gaps and you couldn't just say GC1, GC2, GC3.
Right.
So I knew that old stuff would be hard. And people talked about, I found a year 2000 cache. So that was always going to be the problem. And I had in the back of my head this worry that what happens if they archive one of the oldest caches out there and it's the last remaining one for that month. But I don't know how much the Jasmer challenge has affected that, but my understanding is that these caches are kind of being better kept alive and being kept from archived and, being transferred of ownership and whatnot. So that's
Right.
a good thing
Sure.
to hear that.
Yeah, this summer, so there's only 4 August of 2000 caches left in the world. And this summer,
Right.
one of them was in danger, one
Oh,
up
no.
in Timms Way in Michigan. And so there were great efforts. I think some that we were absolutely not public, but there nonetheless to preserve this cache because of its value.
Right. Wow.
If
That's
that
great.
would change
I'm glad to hear
the
that.
game big time to lose one of 4 around the world.
Right.
And really any one of them. And I know, HQ has done a number of things over the years to help some of these older caches. There's still a problem with, your cache from 2008. If you go away, what happens to that cache? You are the owner of that cache. If you don't leave
Right.
specific instructions, HQ really can't do anything with it because there's an ownership issue. And that
Right.
applies to all of those older 2000-year caches. So, yeah, they've tried to reach out to older owners to say, what would you like done? Can we do something with this? Would you want to adopt it? Do you want to stay in the game? How do you want to do this? So they've been working really hard to make sure that that legacy is preserved, especially since we're now 25 years into that first cache getting published.
Right. So that made me think, you mentioned older tools, more archaic tools. What were the tools you were using at that time?
Well, back in the day, the website search capabilities weren't as good as they are today. So even though you had a premium subscription, it was still a little bit harder to find stuff, as I recall. And then the only real tool to use was what I say GSAK. I don't know if it's GSAK, but that's Windows only software. Didn't run on a Mac. I had a Mac, so it was difficult to run that stuff.
Yeah.
And they had kind of a weird, archaic programming language that they, I guess, had written themselves to do some of the macros. And I think, and you had to pay for it. I think it's free now, freely available now.
I forget. Yeah, it's been years since I touched it. Yeah.
Right. So my understanding is there are better tools now to process pocket queries, and I don't know if they're all web-based or if they're apps on a Mac or Windows or Linux or whatever, but yeah, I hope they're better because GSAK was very functional, but very weird to use.
Yeah, I remember struggling through a few things to sort my pocket queries into what I needed. Yeah. I think the tools are much, much better. There's also a website called Project GC that Geocaching Headquarters partners with, and that thing is just a powerhouse. And we've talked about, there's a great tool for hidden month, and you can, check out what months am I missing. You can search by that. How many loops am I trying to fill in my statistics? And then you can, look at it on a map. Am I headed to Michigan? What can I fill in my blanks with? So there's fabulous tools, I think, these days for working on Jasmer and a whole number of other things.
When I came back a year or two ago and I picked up GSAK because it was, that's the tool I knew. I worked on some slight, small little macros just to help me find stuff. I had a big new area because I'm now in Oregon. I was in California, and I just wrote some simple, database queries and sorting and scripting, so I could say, show me for each month, show me the closest, placed by date. That's available. So that kind of helped me. Okay, I've got 10 years, I've got 120 plus caches to fill in. So that helped me go, oh, here's 10 in a cluster, go work that area. Oh, go up to the neighboring big city, up north, and go find some up there. So
good.
Yeah,
so where are you at in your Jasmer progress?
I should have looked that up.
That's right.
I did make it up to Portland, and I got GC 12.
All right.
And that's a bit of a hike from a sketchy parking place near some some like target practice. It's like Forest Service Road almost.
Yeah.
Tons of scattered debris. And then like nobody was there. I parked and I had to walk like 1.5 miles through some really, undefined tracks, I guess. And on the way back, I saw a couple of people carrying GPSs, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing out here?" The Jasmer challenge, the Jasmer qualifier. I'm like, "Oh yeah, GC12." So I think I have 5 in 2000 to get, and then I believe that it's all just from the last year or so.
All right, fabulous. You made a dent in that big time then.
What's that?
Yeah, you made a big time dent in that.
Yeah, okay. I did. I really, while I had that, while I had a gift subscription, so I had the premium account. I downloaded it all the time, and I wanted to get all that done as much as I could in that period. So.
Cool. The Pizza Ninja, who's in our network, says when Bryce completes his Jasmer, we should have an epic party to celebrate. I like that idea. Very good.
I'm so happy that I got grandfathered in and didn't have to qualify for my own cash.
Yes, but it's great. You're working towards it. And you know what? I've had a thought regarding my Jasmer quest, and I'm currently on a quad Jasmer quest. So I'm always trying to make sure I have 4 finds in the new months, so that as I'm working towards it, with the day I find my quad qualifying old cache, I'm there. I'm qualified completely. So it's very much on my mind. But as I'm making these journeys to focused around these old caches, I feel like I'm on this shared pilgrimage, and everyone is going to these old cache spots in a different order at a different time, but we're all going to these places on purpose together, separately but together. And I just think that's so neat about the Jasmer challenge, that we're having these individual shared experiences. We can get together, we're nerding out. We've got people saying in the chat here, yeah, GC12 was awesome and the parking was scary. So K-Blast from Ohio knows what you're talking about, because we all got to get to GC12, Right. So I really love that part of the Jasmer challenge and the quest that it takes people on. And I love the community in geocaching. And this is just one way the community really geeks out together. And thank you, Bryce, for what you've given us.
Yeah, it's really pretty special, and you're a lot closer, Bryce, especially with that 10-year gap in there. You need 5 caches from the year 2000, and you've only found 3 for the year 2024, and you've been slacking on 2025 so far.
Yeah. Yeah, got busy last year, so that's a problem.
Yeah, very good, very good. So speaking of some of the tools that help people, there's also different statistic websites. So Project GC gives people statistics and badges and everything based on their profile. And so they have their badges for Jasmer Challenge. It's got different levels. It has loop add-ons. So you've got your basic core badge, and then it changes with color as you achieve more and more. You've got your add-ons on the side of the badge. So that's a unique and dynamic badge. My Geocaching Profile, another stats-based website, has a badge for the Jasmer Challenge, and they keep track of different Jasmer challenges in different states. So as you log those, you rank higher on their badge for the number of Jasmer challenges you log. So not only is it I'm achieving the Jasmer challenge, but I'm achieving these angles on achieving the Jasmer challenge. So I think I found Michigan Jasmer challenge, a Utah Jasmer challenge, an Ohio. So you meant this to be copied, right? This wasn't mine alone.
I didn't want, people in like Germany to get every month and then have to fly to California in order to sign the log. So the first goal was like, yes, take it, copy it, keep the name if you could, and make it local so that people could finish it somewhat close to their home coordinates. So yeah, that was always the goal. And when I walked away from geocaching for a while, I don't know if anybody had copied it by that point. A couple of people asked me if it's okay. It's like, yeah, it's right there. Go ahead. And years later, I just happened to I don't know if it was Google or search for it or something, and it was just like, bam, there's dozens. I was shocked by that. I didn't
That's
realize
fun.
it would take off that much.
Very fun. Cool. Well, is there any statistics that are really speaking to you of other things you're trying to achieve as we're all trying to achieve your namesake?
I mean, my secondary goal is counties in Oregon, so
All right.
I'd like to do that.
That's a nice
my motorcycle trip. What's that?
That's a nice trip. I did that a few years ago.
Yeah. So I went down to California. I got a bunch when I went down there. Rode across the state on my motorcycle. Got a bunch, and like a large swath of south eastern Oregon. So there are big counties down there. So I got a bunch of those. I'm close, much closer on my county challenge now.
All right, good. That's fun.
So would you be interested to know that if you do a search with the title Jasmer,
Yeah,
there are 787 challenges or caches. Most of them are challenges, but caches with the name Jasmer in it. 787 now.
Yeah. It's funny because I see a bunch of mini Jasmer challenges, and my assumption is that they're a portion of.
Yes.
And one of the things I considered doing from the start was, get the last 10 years of caches. And, in 2008, that would be everything. But then in 2010, it would start to get easier and easier. And I'm glad I didn't do that from the start. And I'm also glad to see that people are doing, subsets of that challenge just to make it more achievable and other people can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one around here. I called it a 5-year mini Jasmer, and it can be any year since it started. I have a lot of cachers around here where there was a big boom around 2010 to 2018. And so a lot of people are qualifying with at least 5 years in that time frame. So yeah, that's a good point. It's a fabulous but absolutely huge undertaking to achieve the Jasmer challenge. But there's so many achievements along the way. Oh, yeah. So BFMC geocachers from Australia, don't forget the Osmer. Are you familiar with the Osmer? So correct me if I'm wrong, but Australia, you can achieve almost a Jasmer challenge. So there's a few months that they don't have within the country, and so you can qualify for the Osmer by finding everything but those months.
Yeah, it was one of those. I think the gap is May and July.
Well, it's definitely August that they don't have.
BFMC was on the show a couple of months ago, and you can get the full Jasmer except for 4 months in the year 2000. So they did their own little twist, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And does it have to be? Do all of the qualifying finds have to be in Australia?
Oh, good question. Let's wait for his answer in the chat. I like that.
He's in the chat room. So,
I don't want to pretend I'm an expert on that by any means.
So if I go to Australia, I want to make sure what qualified. Oh, okay.
Nope. He says no.
It doesn't. Yep.
So, but if you're an Australian cacher, they will accept your -4 for the Osmer. All right. Very good. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm glad you did. So we could talk about that tonight. So one of our listeners, R. Reagan, told me today that he published a geocache 528 feet from your Northern California Jasmer Challenge, and he called it, so this is GCB1N35, and he called it the quadruple Jasmer. It is not a challenge because you cannot hide a challenge cache for quadruple. It's too unattainable. The new challenge guidelines are all about attainability, accessibility. So it's a traditional cache, Anybody can find it. Anybody can log it. But he asks you to toot your own horn about where you are in the Jasmer challenge. And if you achieve quadruple and find his cache, he'll add your name to a running list on his cache page. So this is a neighbor of your cache. And I just thought that was a neat twist. Yeah.
We were talking about maintaining older caches and whatnot. And I like I said, I kind of put it in a very nondescript place with a not so interesting cache container. I've always wanted to move it, but of course you can't move your caches by very far. And so I was like, maybe if I moved it like 528 feet, like every month, I could eventually get it to Oregon. Or to a better place.
I love this. I love this. Is it still the Northern California edition if you do that?
Or at least maybe I could put it in a nice, hiking trail or somewhere out in the wilderness and not this boring,
Well, unfortunately, with the new guidelines, if you move it, it doesn't qualify because you don't qualify, so it can't be republished. So
even moving it, you don't qualify. Wow.
Moving it might be a problem.
Yeah, that would be.
That's funny. Well, and that made me think of another thing I was going to ask you. Do you have any thoughts based on the preciousness of old caches of the concept of preservation versus refreshing the game board?
Yes. I've heard about this recently. It sounds like a great idea to refresh the game board. I know that, things are crowded and not moving along, and definitely things are getting stale. So I am a proponent of refreshing the game board. But yeah, clearly it has to be some balance of keeping some of the, I'm not going to, brag or anything, but it's not, a better cache or an older cache, but, there has to be some balance there because there's definitely some boring caches that are taking up space that could be
tired.
used.
Yeah. And they're not gonna make or break. I think the community has done a good job of collectively placing value on certain caches. And then those are the ones, like we alluded to earlier with the Michigan cache, that it's recognized. This one is one of value versus, that one, 2010 was 15 years ago now, but we are not going to hurt the game by getting rid of this old, tired cache that no one has found in 5 years.
It's funny. I had a friend who expressed some interest in geocaching. So I said, hey, I'll take you out. And so, she drove around. I put together a list of caches, did kind of a little, hour long, went south for an hour and then came back and found some caches along the way. At the end of the day, I'm like, we found some really quality caches today. They were just excellent. And then it dawned on me. It's like, oh, right. I specifically queried for favorite equals, greater than or equal to some number. And it's like, oh, no wonder they were so good. They were all beautiful caches, challenging, nice places. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a good thing to have.
That's such a good point. The favorite points will probably lead the way on deciding what's quality and what can be refreshed. Yeah.
Right.
They can be. I mean, sometimes just because a cache is old, it'll garner a lot of favorite points, and it's maybe not really a favorite. There isn't anything special about it other than it's old.
Right.
So you're right. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I know our friend GSM times 2 is a big proponent of that. And he's like, look around. If there are 5 from July of 2005, and this one happens to be a pill bottle that's wet and mushy and moldy, it can go away because there's 4 more that you can find. But like we've said, if it's in August of 2000, there's only 4 to find. So they can't go away. They're really very precious. So
I don't hesitate to report caches that are, more difficult to find or have definitely had a lot of DNFs on them in the recent past. I'm like, hey, I don't think this is here. So I don't feel guilty about reporting them and seeing what happens to them get closed out likely. So
yeah. No, I don't think we need to feel guilty about that. That's a good point.
No, not at all.
Yeah. No. Well, Bryce, we have a special announcement on this show. You're a little privy to it, but we're going
Do I win a
to
prize?
bring in
All
we're going to bring in another guest about
Is
a
it
big
bean spilling
announcement.
time?
It's bean spilling time with Gary.
Oh,
Hey,
here's our
Gary,
bean spiller.
bean
Hello.
spiller all the way from Bamarama.
I'm in Bamarama, the beautiful Gulf Shores, Alabama. And
We
I'm
heard the
excited.
weather is beautiful down there this time of day, right?
We've had a little bit of a rain deluge, but hey, it is what it is. So we'll be okay.
All right. Well, Gary,
We'll
is
be
it
okay.
time?
All right, wait a minute. I'm looking for it.
Oh no, Gary just spilled the beans.
So real quick backdrop on what I'm about to show you. We had discussions about. There have been a few, and Bryce pointed some out before pre-show, which was cool. He had a really cool one.
Oh yeah, we'll have to show that in a moment.
Yeah, but there hasn't been a lot. HQ has a Jasmer coin, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't want to bag on that too badly, but it was sort of.
It's nice.
It's
just
small,
not exciting.
Yeah. So we decided that something of this magnitude that Bryce put together needs to be bigger. So we commissioned Chris Mackey to design for us a new coin for Jasmer, and we have created. Right now, we've created 3 loops of the coin, and these are massive coins, by the way. So this is loop 1, but they're big coins. I can get something else to show you how big this coin is. But
A banana, maybe.
Go ahead.
A
Do you have a banana?
Yeah,
Where's your Bamarama?
Yeah, and then there's the loop 3, which is really cool looking. It's got a little purple on it.
A little purple.
And the backs are amazing. I mean, you can look at the back for, an hour and still see something you haven't seen yet.
Because it's a Mackie coin, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mackie coin. So we have all 3. They are now available. They're in the store. And if you're a patron for the next month, you can get 15% off. And so that helped. 15% off your whole order. Now the coins are $25. They were a little more expensive to make, as you can imagine, and so we had to get them designed. But we're really excited for these. Yeah, everybody said, "Where's loop 4?" There aren't a lot of people who have completed loop 4. Number 1, and number 2, yes, they're trackable. Yeah, they all have trackables on them. Where are they? Yeah, they're on the edges. So I just dropped one almost on my foot. These things are heavy. Again, these are available. They're in the store, and if you are a patron, take advantage of the 15% off your whole order. There's not a lot. There are, as you can imagine, we got a bunch of loop 1, because loop 1 obviously this is the most popular because it's loop 1.
It's the easiest.
Yeah,
It's the easiest. Yeah.
There's approximately 70 of these coins. There's only 10 of the loop 3. There's 20 of the loop 2. The reason there's no loop 4 is money. How many people are going to buy this coin? How many people? You got to make these coins. They're not. This isn't magic. Magical money. That's out there. You have to pay somebody to make these coins before you can sell these coins. And I don't think it's cost effective to make a loop 4 if you're only going to sell 3 of them. Why make 20 if you can only sell 3? So I'm sorry, but financially, it doesn't make any sense to make a loop 4. But loops 1, 2, and 3, they're out there. And
So how about this, Gary? Challenge accepted. If people want to pre-order
there
a
you
loop
go.
4 and seed us
Yeah.
the money to make it, we'll do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a possibility.
We'll talk more.
There you go.
We'll
I don't
do
have
more,
it yet, but I'm working on 4. So
anyway, they're a big,
That's very
nice
nice.
coin, and we're very excited to have these. And like I said, Chris Mackey, you know, it's always great to have a Chris Mackey coin because they're
I
so
worked with Chris on a number
great.
of coins. He is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we put the link up there. This is etsy.com/shop/geocache talk shop. And you can link to that from geocachetalk.com, and we'll put the link in the show notes and all that good stuff.
Yep. So we'll let y'all get back
patrons get into your email for that
patrons
15% off link.
For 30 days, we've got a link in there for the patrons to help them out and give them a 15% discount. So thank you, patrons. Thank you all. Thanks, Bryce, for being on tonight. And back to the show.
Thanks, Gary.
See you later.
So yeah, Bryce, that reminded me that coinsandpins.com made that Jasmer coin, and that's like the first one that was made that we know of.
It's certainly the first one I was aware of. They're the only ones to approach me and say, "Hey, can we use your name?" Sure, go ahead. They're like, "We'll send you 6 of them." I was like, even better. So there.
So that's got like the infinity type style in the middle there with the different months.
Yeah, the years are in the middle, and then the months go around
the rim. Okay.
Yeah, the months go around the edge, and then the backside. I don't know if they all have my name on them, but this one does.
So they etched your name and engraved your name. Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's a really nice coin.
I know we built some coins here where we can custom etch them, and that's something you can do when you build the coin, that you can have that design and then etch whatever you want on it. And sometimes it's 15 cents more, but most of the time it's not if you do the design that way. So
right.
And then now you have a customized token for you.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's cool. Well, Bryce, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We've had this in the works for months, and I'm so glad it's finally today and we can meet and talk. I've been very excited to talk to you about the Jasmer Challenge. And we know you have something else going on soon, but you're welcome to stay during our games for as long as you can.
Yeah, I'll stick around for a little bit.
All right. So it is time for our
Hello, I'm Fisher Casher, and I'm from Waynesboro, Virginia, and I'm here to tell you that it's time for the Wheel of Challenges.
Love it. All right. Yes, absolutely. And for the Wheel of Challenges, one live viewer each month will be selected to face off against the wheel to have a chance to win the grand prize, a 1-year membership on Project GC. And we just ask that you limit yourself to 3 lifetime wins. So to enter, send an email with the subject containing "spin me" and your username in brackets with your answer to this question. And again, this is to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com. And your question is, what state was the first Jasmer Challenge in? So I will go to our email and see who is the first correct person to answer.
And usually these come in really quick. And again, Bryce, it's such a great pleasure to have you on. Yeah, no, don't spill any more beans on this one. That's okay. It is awesome to get a chance to talk with you and learn, just how this idea popped into your head and what gave you this. And it does, I think, between Fizzy and Jasmer, these are the 2 most popular challenges that everybody wants. Everybody tries to achieve.
That's right. All right. Well, we have our first correct answer. Ooh. And it is Reese 486. So let's spin that wheel get rid of that question.
Oops,
Oh, I should say our answer was California for everyone waiting. And we have
oh, it's a tough one.
4.5 difficulty challenge.
The well-rounded
traditional cacher. GC 7. I've lost it. I can't see little print.
All right, GC 7B 2RV.
All right.
So well-rounded traditional challenge cache.
And I see also it says 72 out of 81. So this sounds like a grid challenge, a fizzy grid challenge.
This one's in Finland is where this one is.
And
it's got a 77 difficulty. Whoa. All right, we got to get the checker running and change this to
capital R.
Capital R.
Mm-hmm.
Reese 486. Mm-hmm. And run the checker. Oh no!
It says 68 out of 70.
By 4.
Oh, so close.
No.
Now we'll know what you need to work towards in the next few months.
Yeah.
Run that checker for yourself.
All over the board there that needs to get fixed up. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Reese. We tried.
We tried. Yes, thank you for trying. And now we'll get on to our monthly challengers. Each month, we give a congratulatory shout out to listeners who email us proof of qualifying and logging a challenge cache since the last show. Anyone who sends an email to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com with the GC code having a found it log and photos if you like to share will be entered for a prize giveaway for a Challenge Talk path tag. So here are a few of the interesting challenges we heard about from our listeners this month.
And see if I can get this. The first one was sent in by our friend, the Cheeky Brit, and it is GC6JV7B. It's the Grid Runner Challenge. 1 date-placed stat bar.
Star bar.
Yes, a star bar. So it's a 4.5 4.
And the neat thing about this challenge is it's hidden by our old host Jeff, or the Bruce 7. Is it the Bruce 7 or Bruce 07? Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, the Bruce O. Just the Bruce O.
Who knows about 7? Whatever.
So the stat bar collection of possible sums of difficulty plus terrain that are 17 star sums from 2 to 4. All right, interesting. Looks like a toughie one.
It's a good complex one for a complex thinking guy. Very well done, Cheeky Brit.
Wow. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here.
Yeah. Jeff has at the top of the page, for one single date placed month day, have at least one find for each of the 17 DT sums. To sum all that up into one sentence.
Okay. I think it's higher than a 65, but it also shows that I don't qualify. So yeah. That's amazing. All right, next.
Next, we have a submission from Bloody Cool. Is that the one we've got up?
Yep.
All right. So this is GC A31E8. Buffalo Run Challenges, 22 caches of 8 icons mystery cache. So you need to find 22 caches for each of the 8 icon types.
Oh, okay.
That are specified here.
Yeah.
What's the difficulty on this one?
This one's a 55.
Okay.
So it celebrates the year 2022.
So that's where the number of 22
that's where the 2022 came in.
All right.
All right. And from Reese 486, she said.
Wait, what was that, Bryce? What was the difficulty on that one?
How was the difficulty calculated?
Oh.
I think it's people's opinions.
No, it is not. It is.
Oh, you mean the difficulty on the checker, like the number 55?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that is a whole programming thing that I don't understand, but it's calculated based on, Tim, maybe you should take this.
I'm going to try to remember it because there are 3 elements to it. It's the number of cashers in your area that qualify, the number in the geographic region, like your state, the United States, and then the world that qualify for that challenge based on
that's neat.
E. And so it's an algorithmic formula that back in the day, Project GC never intended to get out. Has gotten out. And so we look at it and go, why does this challenge look the way it does? And there's some that like our county challenges here in Michigan that have a 80 or 90 score only because only Michigan cashers can qualify. Whereas one like this one, most any could qualify.
Okay. So that's neat. I like that.
That is something new.
BFMC Geocacher says qualifiers in the surrounding area is the short version. And K-Blast says it's determined by geocaching hamsters.
Yes, that is true. Because I've read the formula and I've tried to understand the formula, and it gets so complex that I can't get there. I can't get there from that. So here's our next one from Reese 486, and it is Arkansas's Jasmer Challenge.
Congratulations.
42 K2F. It's a traditional Jasmer, and
it does require 1 find in Arkansas. I noticed on that cache page.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said that she, Jam 6100, and Ubu qualified on December 31st with Louisiana's oldest, but the calendar flipped before they could get home and make the find on the challenge cache. So on January 25th, they headed out to claim the Smiley, but first stopped to find a January 25 place cache. So they requalified, then went and claimed the Jasmer challenge. And she says, woohoo, challenge accepted and challenge completed. And there's a picture of the happy clan who found their Arkansas Jasmer challenge.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. And the GBs, they found, I think, 150 challenges in the past month. So we've picked one. This is pretty cool. GCAN55H, first challenge cache in Barbados. Says there are currently 4 cache types, excluding lab caches, on the Isle of Barbados. To qualify for this cache, one must have found at least 3 types.
So definitely a fun way to spend your vacation.
That's what I would do. I would clean up an island if I could.
Me too. That would be amazing.
Yeah, very fun. So thank you for your submissions. Please keep sending them in. We love to hear what you've been up to. And congratulations. We have another one of those unique shows where one person played everything, and our winner is Reese 486. So we got you on 1 prize tonight. So congratulations. 1 out of 2 isn't bad. We'll be in touch to get you your Challenge Talk Path tag. All right, so that's everything. Again, Bryce, thank you so much for being with us, sharing your story. It's nice to meet you. And I promise it's not you I'm obsessing about. It's the challenge. All right. And remember the next show is the second Tuesday of March, which is March 11th. And show notes will be posted shortly after the show airs in the video description and linked in the podcast description.
Now, we know that there are lots of events upcoming. Have you gotten your first block party yet?
No,
Emily?
It might not be till September.
Yeah,
for me.
Mine won't either for a while. But if you see Emily or out, remember.
We're B&J Bish from Orlando. Challenge accepted.
Challenge completed.
Challenge completed!
Say one of those magic phrases and we may have something for you.
That's right.
So we want to thank everybody for listening, being a part of our show, submitting your things. Thank you so much. Once again, thanks to Bryce. And
thanks, Bobby.
Here? Enough. Yes. The Jasmer Challenge takes you to some really amazing places with those year 2000s.
Yeah.
Hi, Emily's mom here, just popping in to say thanks for watching today.
So remember, it really is not about the numbers. It's about the challenge.
Challenge accepted. Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.